I'm here in Saudi Arabia where I've just gotten back from the Tyson Fury Francis Ngannou fight, and we've just nearly witnessed one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. And there's a lot of different opinions on this fight. And with me having 106 fights in my career and being ringside watching this fight up close, I noticed some things that Tyson Fury was doing in the fight that was great, but also some things that he wasn't himself in. And also I've seen some things that Francis Ngannou was doing that was fantastic as well, which I'm going to talk about. And you know what was funny? At the end of the fight, after the interviews, Alexander Usyk got up in the ring and him and Tyson Fury said some words which I was listening to, which involves their next fight, which I'm going to talk about at the end of the video, which I think will surprise you a lot. But first, let's talk about this upset. What's just bloody happened? Because with me having all of these experience, I thought, like every other boxer thought, Francis Ngannou has not got a chance. He's in there with Tyson Fury, who's one of, if not the best heavyweight of our generation, undefeated, an absolute stud when it comes to boxing IQ. And he's fighting a guy who's having his first ever boxing fight. I mean, who wouldn't have thought that this was going to be a whitewash from Tyson Fury? And I thought before the fight, this is not going to go past 4 rounds. Tyson will figure him out in the first couple, entertain to the crowd in Saudi Arabia, and then just knock him out and do what he wants. But how wrong was I? How wrong was everyone on this fight? And I want to talk a little bit technique right now, because what Tyson Fury was doing in the first round, I was very impressed with. And he was doing what Tyson Fury does, where he's there, he's moving, he's feinting, he's constantly moving, keeping their opponent thinking. And then he starts throwing some jabs to the body, and then he was throwing some jabs, then jabs to the body. And every time he was throwing that jab to the body, what Francis Ngannou was doing to try and defend that was parrying. And what happens when you parry? Boom, you're wide open for that left hook. And towards the end of the first round, Tyson threw that jab to the body. Next time, feint that jab to the body. Francis's right hand come down. That's when Tyson whipped in a left hook with a massive right hand that didn't land cleanly, but I was like, whoa, there it's there. Round 2, Tyson's going to do the same thing again and going to knock out Francis Ngannou. Then round 2 came, and Francis was really surprising us. And I was thinking, what the hell is he doing? Why is he not rushing Tyson Fury? Why is he not trying to rough him up and wrestle him and then hit him and be like dirty, hit inside and go over the top and try and win the fight from inside of the clinch? Because he's never going to outbox Tyson, but he didn't. What he was doing, he was putting the pressure on, going forward and not getting overexcited, not throwing too many punches where he would have made more mistakes. But then again, Fury was back that jab the body. Ngannou was taking the bait. He was putting that right hand down, trying to parry. Then he was flying over that left hook right hand, but he was falling short. Now, the reason why he was falling short was because Ngannou is unexperienced. Now, that might not make sense to you. I'm thinking,
if he's unexperienced, then he should be able to land punches. He should be able to do what he wants.
But it doesn't always work like that. Now, if you've got boxing experience yourself and you've been in there with someone with very little experience who throws unorthodox punches, now by that, I don't mean southpaw punches. I mean punches that are coming from angles that you're not used to, untraditional angles, and then they might land. That's kind of what Ngannou was doing, and because of his style and awkwardness, this is why Fury couldn't really find his range in that hook right hand. Well, he does in a little bit what I'm going to talk about, but in the first couple of rounds he couldn't do that. And then we went into round 3 where Ngannou was continually putting that pressure on, and then if Tyson wanted to trade, he would stand and trade with him. And I think it was a trade where he landed this left hook, and I've not watched it back on TV, I'm just going off memory here, and because I've been punched in the head so many times, my memory might not be as sharp as yours, but I remember the left hook he threw was like coming out of a clinch, and he hit him on the top of the head, and Tyson went down.
Sharp, top kick it. Oh!
And the crowd was, what the hell's going on here? No one could believe it in that stadium of 20,000+ people. And I was one of them people, like, grabbing the guy next to him. I was like, what we're seeing here? I can't believe it. What's just happened there? And then Tyson got up. Not really fast, but he got up. And then I just thought about the Wilder fights where he got knocked down multiple times, got back up and, won the fight and knocked out Wilder. And I thought, that's going to be what's going to happen here. He's going to get up. That might have just woke him up and give him the little arse kicking that he needed to get out of cruise control. But it didn't. It kind of done the opposite, where now Fury is very wary of Francis's power, which you would be. It's not a bad thing. Whereas I think before the fight, or before them first few rounds and that punch landed, Fury didn't respect Francis's power as much as maybe he should have. And I think he underestimated Francis's awkwardness, not so much his ability, because his boxing ability, I wouldn't say was amazing. And then we start getting into rounds 4, 5. Fury was working behind his jab, still trying to get that left hook, right hand off. And then he was kind of holding as well, Tyson, which I was surprised with. I was thinking, what's these tactics all about? Maybe he's just playing mind games, trickery, because with Tyson Fury, we never know. And that's part of the reasons why we all love to watch him and support him, because you just never know what you're going to get. So I was thinking, when he's rushing in trying to hold, yeah, he's doing that because he's up to something, but he wasn't. Then we got into round 6 and 7, and then Francis was sticking to his game plan, which was putting the pressure onto Fury, getting close to Fury, and then throwing them punches. And as well, what I never mentioned is, like, earlier on, I think it was in round 3, where we seen blood from Fury's head, and then in round 6 and 7, I think it was when his eye starts swelling up. And then we get into round 8 and 9, and now I'm thinking, these rounds are close. Way closer than I thought they would have been. And is Francis nicking some of these rounds because he's putting the pressure on? There wasn't many punches landed from both sides, but when you see Tyson's face, he definitely looks like the one who's losing this fight just by the looks of his face. Then we got into round 9. Then Tyson threw that combination which he had the most success with in the fight, which was that long lead hook 2, and it landed hard. And I thought, oh, this is it. But it wasn't. Francis just kind of walked forward and continued to put the pressure on. What a hard man he is. And that right there has got to get Tyson thinking, like, wow, I've just blasted in with some of my best punches, and he is still taking them and coming forward. But as well, at this point, Francis was getting tired. I'm talking like 8th and 9th round, and he seemed to be breathing heavy, but that didn't seem to slow him down. He was continuing to come forward, continuing to throw them punches and stick to his game plan. And then we got into round 10, which I was like, how the hell this fight went 10 rounds? No one thought it was going to go 10 rounds. Has Tyson got something up his sleeve, or he's going to pull out the bag and, just knock Francis out? Because it seems like these rounds are pretty close. And there wasn't that much action in the 10th round. Then the bell went and the fight went the distance. I don't think I spoke to one person in the world, or I read a tweet or a post of anyone that said that this is going to go the distance, but it did. And now Francis has scored that knockdown. He's won quite a few of these rounds. Surely Tyson can't lose this fight, because we've got Alexander Usyk ringside, who's here to promote the next fight, which is in December 23rd. And the amount of work that went into this fight with the marketing, which I would talk about on a different video. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen the stuff that I've been getting up to and the people I've been meeting who's here. Surely Tyson can't lose this fight. And they read the judges' scorecards in the first one. I think it was like 95-96 to Francis Ngannou. And I was like, we're going to see his biggest upset in the world. And then the other two judges give it to Fury, and Tyson ended up winning the fight by one judge giving him it by 1 round, or it would have been a draw. If it was 2 rounds, he would have lost the fight. And Tyson ended up winning the fight by 1 round, which is unbelievable. And it's credit to Francis Ngannou on his first ever boxing match, fighting the best heavyweight in the world and winning the fight in the eyes of one professional boxing judge who was ringside. So that's some achievement right there. And did I think that Tyson should have won that fight? It's a hard one. I wasn't sitting there scoring round by round, and I've never watched the fight back, but because it was Tyson Fury, and I knew that he wasn't going to lose in my mind, I didn't think that they were going to give it to Ngannou until I heard that first judge's scorecard, and I thought, he's got it. He's going to win this. He deserves it. But since then, I've looked on Twitter, and just about everyone is saying that they thought Francis Ngannou won the fight. But that being said, I might be seeing this, and most people on the internet might be seeing that they thought Ngannou won, just because we expected a lot more from Tyson Fury. We expected a whitewash. We expected a flawless display of boxing and Tyson to take him out. So because that didn't happen, now we're thinking, what? What the hell's wrong with Tyson? Why is he so bad? Why is he not doing this? Why is he not doing that? And when you start getting them negative thoughts in your mind about a fighter, you start subconsciously, I think, if that's the right word for this, what I'm trying to say, I think you start to say to yourself rather than,
oh, he's not doing as well as he was, but I think he's still winning.
We say to ourselves,
oh, Tyson's not doing so good. I thought he would have done better. Francis Ngannou's definitely winning this fight.
So maybe because of that, we are all looking at Ngannou saying he won the fight. But if you took out of it that it was Tyson Fury versus someone who's never boxed before, and there were two just neutral fighters, and you watch them from the outside looking in with no commentary on, who would we think would have won? And before I talk about Usyk and Fury, I would love to know your thoughts about the fight, who you thought won, in the comments below. Okay, so Usyk got in the ring after the fight, and at this point, I'll see Tyson Fury up close, and he looked disheartened, which I think he would be. He was probably expecting that to go 3 rounds, 4 rounds, but it went 10 rounds. And one judge give him it. So he's in the ring now, probably all sorts of thoughts going through his mind about the fight, and respected Tyson because he didn't make any excuses with the post-fight interview. But now he's in the ring and they start talking about dates, and then Frank Warren's there as well, and Frank doesn't really want to give the date even though it's kind of announced for the 23rd of December. Now I'm in two minds what I think Fury will do here. One, he will just be thinking, that fight was awful. I'm not ready yet to fight Usyk and potentially lose everything that I've gained because of that performance. But then the other thing that I think he might do is think, no, the reason why I performed the way I have is because I haven't fought for 11 months. His last fight was against Derek Chisora, which wasn't very competitive. So he hasn't had a competitive fight for, I think, over 2 years now. I might be wrong with the date and everything else on this video because it's like 5 a.m. here in Saudi Arabia and I'm so tired, but I want to get this video done. But because of that inactivity in the ring has made him perform the way he's performed tonight with Francis Ngannou, he might think, well, I've just had 10 rounds of boxing there. I need to fight again in a few months against Alexander Usyk, because that's exactly what Tyson might have needed to get them rounds in. So when he does fight Usyk, he's even better, which I think he will be. And that's another thing that I want to mention is on Usyk's last fight, he didn't perform great either against Daniel Dubois. And then Fury's fight against Ngannou, he didn't perform well. So they're both coming off poor performances. But was that because of their opposition, the people in front of them? They both underestimated them and they didn't think it was going to be a hard night. And when they do fight each other, they will be on top of their game. So maybe because Tyson knew he needed the rounds, he will fight him in December, or maybe he'll just not. Or maybe he'll give it a mess. And if they do fight, I've got to pick Alexander Usyk to beat Tyson Fury. Now, I understand that styles make fights. Francis Ngannou couldn't be any more opposite to Alexander Usyk in boxing form, but I just think Fury was a little bit slow. His timing wasn't there, and he just didn't seem himself. And if he showed up like that against Usyk, I've got to pick Usyk, even though I will be cheering on Tyson Fury in that fight. Now, you've been watching boxing. Do you want to learn how to box? Well, if you do, I can teach you in just 4 minutes from home with no equipment. All you've got to do is click this link right here and watch this video next.